YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another episode of the NFL Top 100 Players of 2020 voted by the fans. This is actually the fourth episode, so if you haven't seen the other ones, go check those out first. But now we are on to players 40 down to 21, another step closer to that top 10. And this is how it all went down. This is how it all works. A group of fans each created their top 50 players in the NFL right now, and then we combined those lists and then created one top 100 list. Very cool to see the fans' perspective kind of compared to the actual top 100 list. So very cool, really excited about this series here, and we're almost to that top 10, which I'm really excited about. Here are the fans that participated here. Some of them have Twitters up there, some of them have their names. A lot of work went into this, making sure they had the right top 50 in their opinion. But right before we get started, 60K, that's our subscriber goal by week 1 of the NFL. Getting close to that, so I appreciate your help there. Full coverage during the NFL season, weekly predictions, power rankings, and all kinds of videos covering the NFL. Follow that Twitter for updates, and we'll tweet during games live, and then we have a podcast as well. Link in the description and in the comments for anything you may need there, including a playlist to this top 100 list in case you missed some of the previous episodes. But recapping the last episode, which was 60 to 41, Fred Warner came in at number 60, Anthony Harris, Mike Evans, Joey Bosa, Levante David at 56, Minkah Fitzpatrick at 55, Dalvin Cook at 54, Tyron Smith, Brandon Brooks, Shaq Barrett, Devonta Adams came in at number 50, Lane Johnson 49, Eric Kendricks, Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, a whole bunch of Eagles in last episode, and a whole bunch of Buccaneers. Chris Godwin at 45, Tom Brady, the GOAT at 44, Derwin James, Tyrann Mathieu, and Darius Leonard ended the last episode at number 41. Now we're on to 40, down to 21 here. Number 40 is going to be Nick Bosa, so we've seen a few Niners pop up recently. Here's another one. Nick Bosa, only 1 year played and already on this fan-voted top 100 list. Highest rank was at 25, so somebody ranked him as high as 25 on their top 50 list, where there was people that did not rank him. You know, I could see that being split. Some people, based off 1 year, don't want to throw him in here yet, but some people know he's definitely good enough. You know, I think I always talk about it, the impact he made, you know, in the right moments, whether it was setting the tone very early. You know, I think of the Packers game during the year, you know, in the playoffs, you know, setting, you know, making that big play early to kind of give them that boost of momentum, and then he would show up in big-time games, you know, at the right moment, close games, get that sack on that third down, that fourth down, create that turnover. I felt like he showed up at a lot of those moments, and that's kind of where the great guys show up. So Nick Bosa, definitely a bright future. He's number 40 on this year's fan-voted list. Number 39 is going to be Kevin Byer. So we've seen a lot of safeties pop up. Now, another one pops up here in this list. Kevin Byer, the Tennessee Titans free safety. Highest rank was up at 25. He did receive some no ranks there. You know, you could argue maybe the best free safety in all of football, but he does more than just kind of sit in the back end. You'll catch him up in the box at times as well. So a very talented safety that really can do it all. You know, you see the safeties that do more than just, you know, their one, you know, strict safety position are usually strong safeties, but Kevin Byer, the rare free safety that can come up and do multiple things here, and a playmaker in the back end for sure. He comes in at number 39 on this year's list. Number 38 is Drew Brees, so a future Hall of Famer here. Somebody ranked him all the way up at 9, and we've seen some inconsistent rankings here between the people, because you had some people ranking him as high as 9 or around those parts, and you had some people either not ranking him or ranking him in the lower end. So interesting debate there where he's at his career right now. Does that factor into it a lot? Still very good. Maybe some people kind of going off production, not super productive. But remember, he did miss some games last year and was still able to come back and play at a high level. So, yeah, maybe a tough one to rank, but kind of expected to see some people rank him in the top 10 and some people, you know, rank him towards it is surprising to see some not ranks maybe, but he ends up kind of in the middle there where he was ranked, obviously, at 38. Back future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers comes in at number 37. So you see Drew Brees' highest rank was 9. Aaron Rodgers' highest rank was 10. So in terms of highest rank, Drew Brees had him beat. A little more consistent actual rankings or making lists, I guess votes for Aaron Rodgers is what puts him one spot higher. So Brees one spot higher, highest ranking. Rodgers one spot higher in terms of the actual rank. So it's interesting how that works, how the quarterbacks line up right next to future Hall of Fame quarterbacks right next to each other in this top 100. So pretty cool to see something like that. Rodgers obviously still playing at a high level. Maybe last year, maybe we expected a little more, but that's the thing about Rodgers. I can actually see him playing better and kind of going back to the Rodgers we know, and that can kind of spark the Packers to take that next step, which remember they made it to the NFC Championship game last year. So Rodgers, number 37 on this year's list. Number 36, going to be J.J. Watt, highest rank at 12. Had some no ranks, yes. So kind of all over the place with this ranking as well. I think it has to do with people trusting his health at this point. So it's understandable, kind of expected that you had different rankings because when he's healthy, he's that talented where you can push him in the area of 12 there, as you can see. But then can you trust him? Because it's been some time since we've seen him play a full season and every single game. But, the talent, I think it's a rare talent J.J. Watt has. He's an edge rusher at the same time of being a defensive lineman that's not an edge rusher, almost getting pressure from the inside. There's a rare amount of players that have that ability there. And you see him get taken out of the Texans defense. It feels like the whole scheme changes. The whole game changes for them. He's that important. So understandable that he's all the way up at 36 and why maybe he got a vote in the top 12 there. 35, it's going to be Ryan Ramczyk. You see somebody ranked him all the way up at 5. That is some high praise for the young tackle for the Saints, who's going to continue to be a top-tier tackle and continue to improve perhaps. Number 35 is where he makes it. So you see some rankings that were kind of all over the place. Somebody had him up all the way at 5. We've seen some kind of in the lower end of 50s and then not ranks. So he gets up to 35 though. But protecting Drew Brees, not allowing really any pressures. I think he allowed one last year. And that's at his young age, so he's going to continue to get better. So there's definitely people that believe he can be or is the top tackle in football this year, and he comes in at number 35 on 2020's fan-voted list. 34 is going to be Ezekiel Elliott here. Another one that had higher rankings that I actually would have predicted. Not saying it's wrong or right. I just kind of me predicting where the fans would put guys. He had quite a bit of rankings there, in the 15 range, inside the top 20. But then he had some people that didn't rank him. I think a lot goes into it on how you view running backs. I think some people don't rank running backs because they don't view them as important. But Zeke makes it number 34. I was surprised by the rankings around the 15, but could be a big year in McCarthy's offense this year. Can't wait to watch that offense go to work. Very excited for the Cowboys this year. But Zeke, number 34. 33 is going to be Cameron Jordan. Another Saints player pops up. I think pretty consistent rankings. We did see somebody not rank him, but you see his highest rank around 22, and he's really not far off the highest rank, around 33. Some ranks in that range, maybe 40, 45, around there. So I think that's pretty consistent for the most part, and might have something to do with him being a consistent player. Like, what you're going to get from Cameron Jordan. You're going to get some top-tier pass rush. He might not be the very best pass rusher on a season. He'll probably be pretty damn close, but he'll kind of be that consistent guy. You see some of these top-tier pass rushers in a single season. Sometimes they disappear one year, and that's just not Cameron Jordan. Sometimes with the other injuries on the defensive line there in New Orleans, he's got to carry the group, and the focus is on him, and he's still able to play at a high level. So consistent ranks for a consistent player. Cam Jordan, 33 on this year's list. 32 is another pass rusher. Here's the Darius Smith. 8 was the highest ranking. Had some people not rank him. And as you know, this is my guy. So Darius Smith's my guy. He was based on 1 year. Definitely want to see more, but I'm confident with him. This was my Defensive Player of the Year vote last year. Highly productive, but created for his teammates and doesn't just play one position. He moves around, makes an impact from several positions. So all that together, usually those types of players aren't highly productive, but he was. So that really stood out to me. I thought he was game-changing. I thought he made that much of an impact where it felt like not really alone, but if you take him away, there was probably some games they don't win. So I thought he was the key piece to the Packers last year. So somebody's kind of in agreement with me ranking him up at 8. There was a few rankings around, the 15 range, I believe. But then there was some people that definitely want to see more. Maybe they think he's only working out maybe because he's in that new Packer scheme. I really don't know. I wouldn't agree with any of that. I really don't know what it is. Maybe people don't want to base things off of 1 year. So you see the rankings were kind of all over the place for him. But it's a fair ranking. Because we don't want to base too much off one season, but it's definitely a fair ranking around 32 there for Darius Smith. Number 31, Harrison Smith, the Vikings safety. Highest rank was up at 17. Lowest rank was not ranked. I think another one of the more consistent rankings, around the 17 to 40 range. Maybe not super consistent, but yeah, in that range. Another guy I think you know what you're going to get. From him. What I like about Harrison Smith, he can play free, he can play strong, catch up in the box. My favorite thing about him is he's insanely instinctive. The play recognition is next level. You watch him and this guy watches a ton of film and he has a very high knowledge for the game. So I think the importance, he might not be the best talent. You can argue that he is, but you may go for the Vikings defense. You may go Danielle Hunter, maybe Eric Kendricks, but I think Harrison Smith might be the most important player to that team, and then he's very talented as well. So he makes 31 on this year's list. 30 is going to be Myles Garrett. Let me tell you, I talk about who was consistent in rankings, looking at everyone's rankings, who was inconsistent, kind of who was all over the place. And Myles Garrett was this year's all over the place. I mean, rankings around 7, around 10, and then you got a bunch of he probably at this point probably had, or not up to this point, but around these parts, around 30, had probably the most non-ranks, but he still made it up at 30 because he had ranks around 7. Yeah, like I said, 12, 15, around there, but then he had the no ranks. It was really, Myles Garrett was all over the place with these rankings, and it's not really that surprising. I mean, he definitely should get a vote because the guy is crazy talented. Maybe people penalize him for hurting his team by, getting suspended, doing something stupid, and that could factor in. That shouldn't take off talent, obviously, but he did hurt his team in the situation last year down the stretch of the season, so maybe that's kind of stuck in people's heads still. But crazy talented at any given time. I think he could be the best pass rusher in football. So, yeah, pretty crazy ranks there all over the place, and that results in him being number 30 on this year's fan-voted list here. 29 is going to be Darius White, and now we see our first player that received a vote from every single fan that voted here, every single voter. So the highest rank was up at 13. The very lowest rank that somebody gave him was 48. So it's good to finally see somebody that received a vote from everybody. So that's great. Darius White, a very solid corner. Obviously, everyone thinks highly of him. The thing that interests me the most about Darius White, you kind of go back to the draft, and everyone knew he's going to be a solid corner, but most people thought he'd be a solid slot corner, and here he is, a top-tier outside corner in all of football right now. So you love to see that. He wasn't really doubted talent-wise, but people may, because of his size, maybe he might have to play slot. Can he be that good outside? So in a way, he was doubted. Overall talent, not really, but it's good to see it. He's getting better every step of the way. I think crazy improvement last year. And the Bills' defense continues to be strong, and that only helps his game. So he comes in at number 29 on the list. 28, it's going to be another Viking here, Danielle Hunter. And we've seen he was ranked on every single list as well. Highest rank is at 14. Lowest rank was at 47, and that makes him number 28. Another one that's crazy improving every step of the way. You go back to LSU with him, he really couldn't get to the quarterback. He was getting some pressure, but he really couldn't get the sacks, which everyone wants to see. But he was a dominant run stuffer. So the Vikings see he's already polished in terms of stopping the run. Let's get him going, getting after the quarterback, and they've done it. This guy's an absolute freak, getting better every step of the way, pretty consistent. So can't wait to see if he can continue to improve here for the Vikings. But he comes in at number 28, and the highest rank for him was 14. Next, we got Zack Martin with a crazy high rank at number 4. This is another one that was kind of all over the place because you see there was some people that didn't rank him, and then we had somebody rank him at 4, and then another ranked was inside the top 10 and around those parts. So it's not quite as crazy as Myles Garrett where he was across the board, but not far off. Zack Martin, pretty crazy ranks there. Not that I disagree with them, but just all over the place. And then obviously averaging him out, ends up at number 27. But obviously one of the better guards in football. You can debate Quentin Nelson versus Zack Martin, but what you can't debate is really anyone else beating them out for that top 2 spot, in my opinion. So Zack Martin, very consistent, and that leads him, not consistent in the rankings though, but that leads to him being number 27. 26, Chandler Jones. Yeah, one that I was surprised that received a no rank. I know it's only top 50. People aren't ranking their top 100s here, but you would think a guy that almost should be close to guaranteed to making every top 50 list. And I was surprised. I figured, if I had to put money, and again, not agreeing or disagreeing, but if I had to put money on it before I saw these fans' rankings, I probably would have guessed somebody would be bound to put him in the top 8, top 10, maybe top 8. Maybe even pushing 5, out of all those people, maybe one person. But 14 is still a pretty good rank, and I think it's a fair rank. But that's his highest rank. He had a no rank. It was another one that was kind of all over the place. That results in Chandler Jones, the Cardinals pass rusher, being number 26 on the fan-voted list of 2020 here. 25 is Deshaun Watson. Number 9 was his highest rank. He did have a no rank. We saw Brees a little earlier in this episode. Deshaun Watson beats him in the final ranking here, but they both had highest rank of 9. The difference was Watson getting more ranks and more consistent ranks around those parts, obviously, which led to him being a higher rank total. Deshaun Watson, dominant for that Texans team. You see him go out and win games. The most important player to that team, the playoff game, he goes out and wins that game for that team, and that's what he is. He's a winner, and we knew that pre-draft process, and the teams changed a little bit, but they still have Deshaun Watson, and they're still going to go out and win because of that, and the crazy thing is he can continue to improve. I think his offensive line has improved. They kind of got the unit together, so that can mean Deshaun Watson can continue to improve, but some people didn't rank him. If I had to pick, I'm a big Deshaun Watson guy, but if I had to pick apart his game, there is sometimes where the sack he kind of results on him. The offensive line hasn't been great, but he'll kind of scramble a little bit too much or run into the pass rusher. So if maybe the people that didn't rank him were kind of thinking about that a bit, because if I had to pick apart his game so far, that's one thing I'd say. But I do love me some Deshaun Watson, and he's number 25 on this year's list. Number 24, Ronnie Stanley. Highest rank 15, and he had I think that was pretty consistent with most people around that range, in the 20s maybe, but then there was some no ranks there, and that kind of dropped him a little bit to 24, but a lot of people, majority of people ranking around those parts, the 15 to 25 range, still kept him up here, I guess, to rank him 24. But one of the better tackles in all of football last year, a guy that I think can play, I think he's proven he can play in any scheme, that he can prove that he's improving. A power blocker and a key piece to that Lamar Jackson offense. Lamar Jackson can run. Obviously, it's hard to stop, but you're gonna need some guys to open up some kind of lanes for him, and that's what Ronnie Stanley's there for. So he comes in at number 24. 23, Jalen Ramsey, a guy that was ranked by every single voter here, so you love to see that. And we've seen the first one on this entire list was a cornerback that got ranked by everybody. That was Darius White. Now we see Jalen Ramsey up here. And based off last year, maybe, Darius White better, but we all know the talent that Jalen Ramsey has, and now he's going to play for that contract. We expect him to play every single game this year on a contract year, and we all know he's going to go out and ball. He can very well play like the very best corner in football at any given time. Somebody ranked him up at 17. We've seen lowest ranks around 44. Pretty consistent, though, in the 20s, 17 to the 25 range. And then since he didn't receive a no rank, since he received votes from everybody, that puts him at the 23 spot. So, you just love to see guys that were voted by everyone. It's cool to see, I guess, see which guys that everyone, thought was good enough to actually rank. So Jalen Ramsey, number 23. I'm expecting him to ball out this year. 22, we got Tyreek Hill. We got a highest rank of 11, lowest rank of 43. So even though he was ranked by everyone, even though he got a vote from everyone, it was a little bit kind of scattered where he was ranked, because you're seeing people rank him in the top 15. We see 11 there in the top 20. So we've seen a chunk of people rank him better than his rank 22, but then we've seen a chunk of people rank him around that 35 to 43 range around there, and kind of splitting the difference. But not having a no rank, having a vote from everybody puts him at number 22. And it's another guy. I think it's a fair ranking, but I also think it's a fair ranking to put him around 11, where his highest rank was. And at any given time, I can actually say that this guy, because you talk about the 3 receivers, which we'll talk about eventually on this list, the top 3 receivers, everyone knows who they are. We can definitely involve him in that category. We definitely can. At any given time, he can pass those guys. So, again, though, I think it's a fair ranking. But you see the difference. Highest rank 11, lowest rank 43. He comes in at number 22. And 21 is next year, the final ranking of this episode. And there's a certain fan base that really isn't going to be happy with this. And I disagree with it as well. But Derrick Henry comes in at number 21. You expect, you almost expect a sure thing top 10 for a guy like Derrick Henry. And you see the highest rank all the way up at 3, the 3rd best player in the NFL. We've seen some ranks, multiple ranks inside the top 10. Then we've seen some ranks really close to 50. And then we've actually seen there's one person that did not rank Derrick Henry, which is absolutely shocking to me and will shock a lot of people. 21 is a pretty good rank still, but you think the dominance that Derrick Henry brings to the field, that's too low in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree. But there were people that voted. You see 3. We've seen people vote him in the top 10. Multiple people. But there's other players that received those votes, and there's those players maybe received all votes. All possible votes. So there was a couple votes down in the close to the 50 range and the not ranked range, and that pushed him down to 21. But I don't know. I talked about it with Zeke. Maybe some people don't value the running back position, but. To me, it's a guy like Derrick Henry. It's not really the same. It's so valuable to them. The run game will open up the pass game. That's a great example why Tannehill was able to play at a pretty high level. The best he's ever played is because Derrick Henry. There are teams that are game plan for Derrick Henry that are kept on their toes. They're crowding the line because of Derrick Henry, and that opens up the pass. So he is a game changer without really, even when he doesn't get the ball. I think people kind of knock him because, they compare him to McCaffrey. McCaffrey is, and you can't compare the styles, but they compare them because they're top-tier running backs. But McCaffrey, I think the reason why most people will put McCaffrey ahead of Henry is because how much he's involved in the passing game, McCaffrey that is, and he is crazy involved. But I think people automatically assume Henry really isn't. Maybe they can throw the ball to him more, but it's not really a knock on his game. People should not be penalizing him. It seems like every time he gets a slip screen, it's the same thing as him running the ball. He's a big-time problem. In fact, a lot of those big chunk plays come from plays like that. So maybe it's just a matter of the Titans giving him more of those. But people, I think, penalize him for that, and that's not a talent problem there at all. But yeah, kind of going back to what I was saying, he opens things up for the passing game, but I was mentioning how he does that. Teams game plan for him. They crowd the line. There is a lot of times, a lot more than anybody else in the NFL, that they know for a fact. And remember, a lot of the playing defense is a guessing game. A lot of it is just going off not football knowledge. It is a guessing game out there. And these defenses know for a fact he is getting the ball and sometimes where he's getting the ball, and they still can't stop him. So for all those reasons I just explained, it is mind-blowing that he received a no rank there in a top 50. I think everyone should have had him inside this 21 rank, well inside. So there's some that I disagreed with along the way here up to 21. But there really hasn't been one that I've strongly disagreed or had to, actually speak it that I disagree with it. This is kind of the first one that I have to go out of my way here and say it because 21, it's still a pretty high rank, so you can't really complain too much. It's a good rank, but it should be better there. It should be better in my opinion. I think he's that dominant of a player. We'll see what he can do this year. People were saying, well, they're ready for Derrick. They were ready last year for Derrick Henry, so we'll see what will happen. But we're down to 21. So tomorrow, Saturday, the 15th, we got 10 players we're going to rattle off. That's 20 through 11. And then Sunday, We got the big top 10. The reason I split those up, we've been doing 20. The reason I split those up is because I want to, after that 20 through 11 episode, we're going to know who the 10 players are. Everyone's going to be able to know who those 10 players are. And then we, on Twitter or in the comments, we can predict who will they be from 10 to 1. You can predict exactly. We can make a game out of it there. Maybe we'll give somebody some Discord access if they can predict it exactly. So that'll be pretty fun. So can't wait to finish these off. Some more surprises that I was mentioning. The AFC South team that wouldn't be happy was that Tennessee, or fan base should say, was that Tennessee Titans for this episode because Derrick Henry. Tomorrow's episode 20 through 11, another certain fan base is not going to be happy. I'll say it's from the AFC North, not NFC. I was about to say NFC, AFC North. And then somebody, even in the top 10, some certain fan base actually might not be happy, even though their player is in the top 10. So there's a lot of interesting things still to come on this series. Here are the participants. A lot of work went into this. Appreciate these guys very much. So you can talk to them. You'll see them in the chat. You can find them on Twitter. Ask them some questions if you want to, if they're allowing it. But yeah, really excited about this. Really excited to keep going through the top 20. So if you can join us, for all our in-season content. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe to our channels. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.